Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation for TWC411, my course portfolio. My name is Trisha Tumlinson. I am a senior at Arizona State University in the Graphic Information Technology program with an emphasis on digital media, print, and publishing. I have experience in the design world working as a consultant for 2 independent artists. I utilize my skills and personal experiences and knowledge to complete my design projects. I have an online portfolio where you can view more of my work at trishaleedesign.com. You can contact me regarding questions or comments at trishaleedesign@gmail.com or contact me via my contact page on my portfolio site. For my design process in my designs, I tend to follow the visual rhetoric design theory. The concept behind this theory is that we can persuade the viewer with the information and the design. Along with that, I also employ the concepts from the Gestalt theory, in which people perceive things as a whole rather than in the individual elements. Using alignment, color, balance, and proximity, I ensure that my designs look well composed and convey the message that I'm trying to present to my audience. Utilizing placement for typeface along with the colors and aligning and balancing of all the elements will play into how my viewer sees and portrays the information that I provide them. For the first assignment in TWC411, we were tasked with creating a personal logo. For the first portion, we had to sketch 9 different sketches in which our professor, Dr. Harris, chose 3 of those designs for us to create final compositions. 3 designs that I were assigned were number 1, 3, and 7. I then composed 3 compositions using a black and white color scheme, which is what we were directed to do. The concept that I tried to achieve with this was a serious but lighthearted feeling. I did not model any of these from a specific typeface and created all of the letters myself. So on the left we can see my sketches there, and on the right we can see the comps that I presented. After presenting the comps and turning those in, I did a final revision for one of the compositions based on feedback from Dr. Harris, as well as feedback from a couple of classmates. For this to improve with the visibility and the balance, I added a border to the outside of the logo, including a negative space white in between the typeface and the border. I also increased decreased the stem size of the letters while ensuring that the arms were 1.5 times the size of the stem to help with the balancing. The other thing that I did was brought the letters together to make them touch rather than having them be separated by just a slight opening. The next project we had was our political posters. The point of this project obviously is to convey a message regarding political issues that we are currently facing. I decided to address the issue of child neglect and abuse. The point in this message was to emphasize that you can't just love children in order to care for them. You also have to be aware of what's going on around them and ensure that they are learning properly from the adults in their lives. I took my knowledge from personal experiences from my own childhood, along with information I've learned about my children who my husband and I adopted, to create the message that I was going for. So I originally created 9 sketches and then chose to do sketch number 5 as my composition. For my composition, I used a grayscale for the background image of a young boy who appears to be standing in his room weeping. In that composition, you can see that there is a speech box basically representing the boy being able to hear his parents arguing and fighting in another room. And the headline, "It Takes More Than Love," was composed with different colors. The font that I used was called Flood, and I used this specific font because it's a very brusque font. It really draws your attention. And then including the website for one of the organizations that I follow at the bottom. After getting some feedback after I turned this in, I went ahead and made a couple of updates. And those updates were decreasing the saturation of the background image, so just brightening it up a little more. It was very dark in the one that I presented originally. I didn't brighten it too much. I wanted to keep that kind of dark feeling you get from seeing the boy crying. And then also I decreased the opacity and changed the typeface of the wording in the speech bubble to make it look like it's more in the background instead of so in your face. That way it blends a little better, and that way that the information that pops out is the headline, which I also adjusted by changing the stroke here on the more than wording, and also brightening the yellow that I used by changing to a more vibrant yellow. I also changed the size of the image a little bit and adjusted that. In the bottom where the website was, I added a stroke to emphasize it and make it stand out a little more, because using that blue, it blended in very much with the bottom because it's such dark shades of gray. But to help it stand out, originally I was trying to kind of hide it, but it decided that it needed to be a little more emphasized. Finally, we had the project for the redesign of a poorly designed website. My goal on this was to increase the appeal of the site, utilizing colors representing trust, power, warm feeling to represent friendliness, a sense of belonging. The company's website that I chose sells juice products for daycares. So I wanted to focus on the product that they sell and not the fact that they sell the product to daycares. I also made some adjustments to the navigation. The way it was originally laid out, it didn't feel like it flowed very well, and there was a lot of negative space. So I created several wireframes, which are these here, indicating where I would place the logo, the image or the body of the website, navigation, and a footer. You can see I had two different layouts, and then I made some wireframes for a mobile site as well, with similar layouts but just adjusting the positioning of stuff. And then I made these sketches, and the idea behind the sketches was how was I going to place this information for it to appeal to the user the best. Where were they going to be able to see that information the best? And I felt like what I had on the left for both the desktop and the mobile were going to appeal more to the viewer than the ones on the right. So from there I created my designs, and you can see here on the bottom of the desktop site and then to the right, that is the original site that Penny Juice had. That's their layout that they're utilizing. You can see that the image, they put text right in the middle of the image, and it really throws off the feeling as it blocks out the faces of the children with the opaque white background and the dark blue font. The colors didn't feel like they meshed well together. They didn't represent juice or fruit in any way to me. So I went ahead and tried to use a little bit of their color scheme. I kept their logo, which is the red font with Penny, and their saying, which is "It makes sense." And then I tried to use colors that associated with the fruit. The only color that didn't associate, obviously, was the blue that I was trying to utilize. It's actually the same blue that they used in their font on their website, that they tried to make it stand out. And their heading originally was a very light blue, as you can see, so I tried to keep the blue on the heading. After I submitted this, I myself looked at it and didn't feel it was the best. I waited for my critiquing and my feedbacks, and Dr. Harris and a couple of students gave me some feedback, and this was a final revision that I did. I went ahead and lightened my navigation bar to provide more contrast to the links on the left-hand side. It also helps to draw your eye over there because it's a light gradient of orange. On the bottom, I went ahead and changed the color of the font for the phone number, fax, and address to help contrast more with the dark footer color. And then in the headline, you can see that I went ahead and changed that blue to a green, and that green is actually based on the color of those green grapes in the front of the juice image. Changing that color actually helped me to convey more the juice side of the message. They are a juice company. That's what they do. So I wanted to really get that across, and I think changing to the green over the logo helped. It also helped to bounce that logo a little more and emphasize it and really let you see it well. I also took the red oval gradient that I had behind this free shipping and just changed the font to red so that it stands out a little bit in that negative space. It helps to balance both sides, I think, as well, along with my original green font for the information about the juice, which helped it stand out from the page. So as you can see, the employment of the Gestalt theory and the visual rhetoric, I think, is all there. I really try to convey my message through what I'm putting on there, more so than how I'm putting it on the page. I think the colors and typefaces and imagery really make a difference in what you're trying to sell. So thank you for viewing my portfolio presentation. And if you have any feedback, feel free to let me know either via my portfolio website, where you'll see other information and projects that I've done, or via my email that I provided earlier. Have a great day.